So next bit, the outside leaves here. These often get a little bit beaten up, right? So these are great in broths, really good in broths. Don't throw them away, delicious flavour, right? And then we've got...
Celebrity chef Jamie Oliver has long been a tireless advocate for a better, healthier food system. With Halloween, one of the year's most sugary sweet days, upon us, it's an opportune time for Oliver to remind us of his message. Shauna Reid is here with more. So Jamie Oliver was in Toronto this week?
Yeah, the celebrity chef was in town to promote the opening of his new restaurant that is set and scheduled to open in Toronto. This is his first North American restaurant, so good for him. But he's also, been promoting his latest book called Everyday Superfood, and he's been an advocate for healthy eating, especially for children. And he had some words for our next Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, while he sat down with CBC. Now, he said that Trudeau should review soft drink labels and that they should have a measure of sugar in teaspoons as opposed to grams, so that parents have a clear indication of how much sugar are in some of our, favorite drinks. And this is just an extension of Oliver's crusade that he has been on, his sugar crusade back home in the UK. He's been pushing the British government to actually put in place a sugary drink tax of 20% to help tackle childhood obesity. Here's a bit more about what he had to say. Take a listen.
I think looking at junk food advertising to children up to sort of 9 o'clock at night but there's loads of science behind why we shouldn't, or we should be protecting our kids from being completely branded at and marketed at constantly. But without doubt, it should be a Canadian's kid's human right to be taught about food and where it comes from and how it affects their body in elementary schools of Canada.
All right, so we heard it from him. So how can we try to make it a healthier Halloween?
Well, it's tough. I mean, I was a kid once. I remember getting that bag, that pillowcase of candy. But of course, I mean, there are a lot of health things we have to keep in mind. And there are a number of tips that experts have for parents to help keep things in check and healthy this Halloween. Now, one of the suggestions is eat dinner before you actually head out. That could help curb, some snacking while en route. And if you're handing out treats, you can actually choose to hand out something like fruit or even a small toy if you want to promote healthy eating for some of the trick-or-treaters in your neighborhood. And when you're back home, you've sorted throughout, the candy and you've checked it, made sure everything's good. Set some rules, set some boundaries as to when you can eat, how much candy your kid can eat. And if your kids are young enough, I like this actually, you might actually be able to dip into their stash without them knowing. So maybe they think they have less candy, or freeze it or have it for when friends come over. But tricking them into thinking there's less candy, I like that one. And there are some even more elaborate suggestions, like, setting up a fairy Halloween candy where your kids put out their stash and overnight you switch it in for one of their favorite toys. So there's also that. But I mean, most of all, just keep it in moderation. And it's tough because I know I used to sneak in a lot of that candy when my parents weren't looking. And make sure to floss and brush your teeth. That's a key one if you're trying to gorge on Halloween candy.
So they don't fall out, or you don't have to get fillings.
You have to pay for those fillings.
That's right. Thanks to Shauna.
You're welcome.